is the implied social contract theory that is used in legal citizenship contract implication that everybody is born a member of some legal state. Is it actually biblical? Is this something biblical in belief, or is it just a theory? Well, if you ask the legal system, is the implied social contract biblical? It will answer no. The concept of social contract is explicitly defined in what? Secular philosophy. Secular has got nothing to do with spiritual, nothing to do with God, and is not directly stated in the Bible. But many scholars argue the Bible contains principles and themes that closely resemble a social contract, particularly through the idea of a covenant between God and his people, which involves mutual obligations and responsibilities within a community. Now we have to remember that the nation of Israel was a nation under God as a people based on bloodline lineage. They were separate from the world, and that whole direction in historical record brought us to a conclusion that it wasn't going to work. They didn't basically, or were not able to fulfill what was involved in that covenant, and sacrifice upon for every sin they committed was just going to be perpetual forever. They were never going to have an elimination of the Adamic sin. It was only through free grace that this would come about. And that required your acceptance, not something that's based on your birth into it. It's something that you would have to accept and bring about by your go ahead to use your free will consent to enter into this covenant. You could either elect to choose to refuse this free gift, this free grace, free gift that you could never pay for, or you could basically refuse it and remain within the legal, or what would be the old covenant dispensation. That's why when you look up legal in 1755, Samuel Johnson's dictionary, it will refer to it as the old dispensation or as the old covenant, because it's not based on free grace. So therefore, legal at the best end represents what the Israelites had before the Messiah came about, before he brought us into the new covenant, and then opened up the entire arrangement for all of mankind, despite what directional background they may have come from, leading back to Adam. They were all embraced under this new covenant that was going to lead them to eternity and the free grace and gift that was in the Garden of Eden before original sin occurred. So literally, when we take the born again and the understanding of Scripture and the understanding of free grace versus legal, we're being brought back to the Genesis, back to the beginning before the original sin occurred, and therefore we're in the paradise of peace, and that is the belief and hope of all those who've accepted this before the return of Christ, where he inaugurates and brings this all into being, even though we walk now and live now in this faith. But you cannot be legal and be Christian at the same time.